happen overnight. Oh, when I said Carly, that's why. So when I got asked to speak,
Carly.
so when I got asked to speak out here, Carly's the one that called me. Is she education committee chair or something?
Yes.
Then they planned it while she's on her honeymoon. Oh, well, that wasn't real fair. Okay, well, I'm glad I said that.
Yes, thank you.
Models and systems create freedom for you. I created a business. Now, it took me 4 years. When I got the second time around, it took me 4 years to create that leverage. Those 4 well-spent years, because I get to do this a lot. I get to go a lot of great places as a leverage. So number 2, I'm the poster child for number 2 being free. Models and systems and leverage will create freedom for you. Models are just opinions. So when they did the research for this book, Gary Keller went out and he interviewed only the top Keller Williams agents. True? Oh, false. Okay, wait, hold on. When Gary Keller did the research for this book, he went out and he interviewed the top agents from all companies that he could find. And then when the book came out, they all joined Keller Williams. True?
False.
Not a Keller Williams book. He went out and he interviewed the top agents from all companies and came up and it says in the book, it says in there, and we found that they all did the same things. Now that was in 2000. So in 2017, 18, and going through the day, they went back and they've interviewed the top agents again. And guess what? The vast majority of the models and systems still apply. When we go through today, you're actually going to see the new models and systems from the MREA2 research. That's what's going to be on the screen. That's what's in your book. So it's going to differ a little bit from in here, not much. Who saw, this was funny. Who saw Gary Keller's interview with Brad Inman when they kind of got in the exchange? So Gary Keller's with Brad Inman on stage. And Brad said the book doesn't apply anymore. And remember, this is Inman. This is not a Keller Williams event. Inman, this is people from all companies all over the world. And they had this little thing where you could vote. If you were in the audience, you could vote. And Brad said, let's just ask the audience. And he thought he was going to get one over Gary. He said, so how many of you think that the models in that book still apply today? He got this big smile on his face. And in the corner of the screen, you could see the counter. When it got to 85% of the room said, yeah, that still applies, it suddenly went off. And Brad Inman never revisited that during that interview. If you don't believe me, you can go watch it. Those still apply today. They're not just opinions. Number 4, the model won't work for me. Okay, successful people lived before us. We know that. Here's why I know the model will work for you. Who's the number 1 agent, or not who's the number 1? How much business does the number 1 agent do in Wilmington? 100 million? What mortgage? 120 million. If you're in Wilmington and you cannot make your goal next year on $100 million in business, raise your hand. If you're in Myrtle Beach and you can't make your goal next year on $120 million in business, raise your hand. Wow. Apparently, the model does work for you. You just got to put the model. Now, I was in San Antonio a couple of weeks ago teaching this, and there was somebody there from like Byersley, Texas. I've never even heard of it. And I went, you might have to move. I don't know. Maybe you can't do enough business there to make your goals and you got to move. I know y'all can't. I know where y'all live. Are we blessed that we live in the Carolinas?
Yes.
It's crazy. We have everything going for us. Yes, you can make your goals because other people are doing it as they go through. Number 5, I can't ever. I don't need to change. I'm getting the results I want. Okay. Well, cool. Well, here's the deal. Maybe you are getting the results you want. What if you paid attention today and you got those same results and it took you less time to do that? You had more free time. Would that be a fair trade? Yeah, you came here for something, you had to tweak it. So turn over 2.5. How does the millionaire real estate agent think? Number 1, they think powered by a big why. I'm going to skip that one and come back to it. Number 2, they think big goals and big models. I'm going to skip that one and come back to it. Number 3, they think value and customer service and experience. Bo Anderson, our vice chairman, she says this. She says that the standards that you set are part of the legacy that you leave. What is the value in the standards and the service that you are creating? So think about this. Everybody in this room is going to go on a listing presentation this afternoon. We are all going to compete for one listing. Everybody in the room. If that were true and you could only do one thing, just one thing to sell that listing, what would you do? What is it? Show them you care. Okay, that was your one thing. So now you have a listing, but nobody actually knows it. What would you do? One thing. What is it? Nobody knows the one thing they would do. What would you do? You're on the spot. Okay, again, that's important to price it right. Nobody knows you have a listing. It's well priced, but what is it? Promote the appointment.
Market it.
Oh, market it. How would you market it? Be specific. If you only market it one way, what would you do? To get the most realtors to see and know that you had this listing, what would you do? You would put it in MLS. Truly, if you could only do one thing, you would put it in MLS. If you could only do three things, you would put it in MLS, you would put up a sign, and you take pictures. It makes you just like everybody else. Yet you want me to give you a large percentage. I did not say a specific percentage, Ms. Broker in charge. It's negotiable. But you're asking me to give you a large percentage of the sale, and you're going to do this first same three things as everybody else. Here's your challenge. What makes you different? What makes you special? What's your value, your service, your standards that I should choose you? If you don't know that, write down this. Page 94 and 95 in this book is the 10 areas of service for a buyer. It's the 10 areas of service for the seller. What makes you different? Why should I pick you over anybody else? Here's the fact of the matter. Man, you said there's some pretty top agents in this room, right? Right? All right, my big agents in the room. Would y'all like to see this market change? Yes. Yeah, we would, because we have established business. We know our value. We know the service that we provide. And the fact of the matter is, in the current market that we have, it is too easy to sell a house. Anybody, as long as you weigh enough to put up a sign, because you got to kind of balance on it. If you weigh enough to put up a sign, you can sell a house. Now, did you get them the most money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of hassle? Probably not, but do they know that? No. And that's why you've got to know that. And you've got to be, people have to know that ahead of time. A lot of you are going to know my buddy Joseph Klosik. Joseph, if you ever get a chance to take his Legion Like a Millionaire class, do it. But Joseph says, he says, Kent, I have the best elevator speech of why they should choose me over the other agent. He said, but too often I find myself giving that speech in my car as I'm driving by the sign that the other agent just put up. And that does me no good. Do you know your value? And are you getting that out there to the rest of the world so they choose you? Because until this market changes, you're going to see what I see. I see a bunch of agents I never heard of putting up a sign, and I'm going, oh, please let us have the buyer for that one, because we will win for our buyer. They're not going to win for their seller because they don't know what they're doing. But that's just the market that we're in right now. 94, 95, figure it out. Number 4, think competitively and strategically. Raise your hand if you're competitive. Come on now, you got real estate. Raise your hand if you're competitive. Let me see you. There we go, good. Right. Raise your hand if you're competitive. Raise your hand if you know how to go into kw.com and see where you rank in your office. Uh-oh. Okay, put them down. That was not as many hands. Here's what I want you to do. If you are competitive, I want you to find out. So it's on KW. These two people right here can definitely show you how. Find out how to see where you rank in your office if you're competitive, because that will push you. Earlier today, I said, do we all have natural ability? And you said, yes. And I said, do some people have more natural ability than others? And you said, yes. Get competitive. Go on KW.com and see where you rank on your office. And look, you see that person that's 5 places ahead of you that has less natural ability than you have. See if that don't tick you off just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's number one in your office?
In Brunswick, well, currently in GCI, it's Domenico.
Domenico?
Yeah.
Number one. Are they competitive?
Very.
Very. I bet they go on KW.com. But you know what they do? They don't look, see where they rank in their office because they probably know that they know they're number one. They probably don't look in the region because you can do that too. Hit one more button and see where you rank in the Carolinas out of 10,000 agents. I bet you that's what they do. Who knows my buddy Trent Corbin up at South Park in Charlotte, Redbud Group. Yeah, Redbud Group, he's competitive. He goes on KW.com, he don't look where he ranks in his office because it's not even close. He doesn't look to see where he ranks in the region because actually it's not that close. Trent goes to see where he ranks out of 180,000 agents at Keller. And Trent's pretty competitive. If he's not on page 1, he kind of gets ticked off. There are 17 people on page 1. Guess how I know that? Because I'm competitive. And it drives me when I look and I'm not on page 1. I'm not even close to page 1. But I'm getting better. I'm going up because I'm competitive. I'm looking at things. Get competitive. Figure out who's ahead of you and then drive to win. Big action accountability. I'm going to come back to that one. Think talent, systems, and standards. Surround yourself with talented people. They will take you further than a busload of less talented ones, just what the book says. Models, systems, and talent. Think knowledge and skills. Thank you for being here today, by the way. You've committed to increasing your knowledge and your skills today. I'm going to try to help you get there. By the way, as a real estate agent, what's your most valuable asset? Time. So thank you for giving me some of that. I really appreciate it. Think persistence and resilience. Yeah, Gary Keller says it like this. You've never failed until you give up. Until you quit trying, you've never failed. So just don't quit trying. And think profit. What is the purpose of a business?
Profit.
To profit. It is not to see who can create the most revenue. It's not to see who can work the most hours. The purpose of a business is profit. So turn over to page 2.7. Let's go back and pick this one up. This number one, think powered by a big why. Many real estate agent has a big why. They have a reason that they get up and do this. What are the 2 reasons people go into real estate for? The 2 main reasons. Time and money. Yeah. I want to control how much money I make and I want to control my time. The vast majority of them spend so much time creating time for themselves, they never make any money. It's true. It's true. It's the way it is. It's time and money. That's why they get in. You need something to drive you. So you think about this. I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to write down your big why for being in real estate. And by the way, if you look around, you're going to see some people that maybe are a little more experienced than you that are already writing. As soon as I said it, they went, I know my purpose. What is your big why for getting in real estate? Take 1 minute and write that down, page 2.7. And when you're doing this, guys, Gary Keller says a couple things. When you're writing this down, you do have to think monetarily, or most of us have to think monetarily. Here's what Gary Keller says. It's not about the money. It's what you can do with the money or what the money can do for you. So don't worry if there's a monetary in there. That's not greedy. Here's the other thing. I heard Gary Keller say this. Gary Keller said you can never, ever, ever, ever make enough money. Now, if I stop right there, that sounds greedy. That's what he really said. He said you can never, ever, ever, ever make enough money because you can never give away enough. And you can't. There's no one in this room that could make enough money that could give away enough to even fix their community, let alone their city or their state or the country or the world. So when you're doing this, don't think of greed. What is your big why? What drives you? What's your purpose? Why are you going to make sure that you don't wind up a statistic and you're successful in this business? Write that down, page 2.7. Hey, Zoom guys out there, thank you guys for being here too. If you have any questions anytime during the day or you want to say something, if you put it in the chat, somebody is monitoring that. So we have that more. Hey, keep writing if you are. Who's got a big why they'll share with us? Yes, sir.
So continuously improve my knowledge of real estate, identifying people that can leverage that information to reach their goals and dreams, thereby enabling security for my family, friends, and community.
I like that. Tell me your name.
Todd.
Todd. I love that. Can I challenge you on that just a little bit?
Sure.
That's a really good big why. Here's what would make it a great big why, in my opinion. If you defined security, what does that would, and because then you could actually build a plan around that. So that's kind of just some homework for you. By the way, I will tell you this: when I said write down your big why, he was the first one I saw to pick up his pen. He knew that part of it. But that's just a thought on how, and we're going to talk about kind of how to define things in a minute. Thank you. Anybody else got one? Yes, sir.
Live a big life and make a huge dent. 200 days off a year. 1 weekend a month with my family off. 1 month a year travel.
So that's kind of what I'm talking about right there. He started out with, what'd you say, live a big life?
Live a big life and make a huge dent.
So he got, but then he started putting down the things. He probably needs to refine a little bit, work on it. But he started listing those things that would mean a big life to him. This is what it would mean to be this much time off. He was doing these things. That's when you're really narrowing it down, because then you can create a plan around it when you know what it is. How about one more? Who's got one that'll share? Yes, ma'am. Okay, tell me your name. Jenny? Okay, Jenny. Can we play for a little while? Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. If you guys will turn over to page 2.9. Turn to page 2.9. We're gonna play a little game here. What a great lead. Hey, by the way, if you don't know your big why, that's okay. It's hard to work on. Here's what I know. You don't have to be great to start. You have to start to be great. So start developing that big why. So me and Jenny are gonna play a game. So this is a book called The One Thing. Another one of my favorite books. Also, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan write this. This is not a business book. This is a life by design book. This is all about your personal life. I would highly recommend that you read this book, because it talks about a life by design. It talks about the life of abundance for you and your family. It's an awesome book. And in this book, it lays out the 7 areas of your life. And just so you know, if you want to write this down, the one thing, my favorite page is page 114. Page 114 is 7 areas of your life. And you start with your spiritual life, then you go to your physical health, then your personal, and then your key relationships. Those are first. And then it's job, business, financial. But it just lays this out. In this book, it teaches you how to build that big why. How do you do it? And so Jenny, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to build that goal for you. We're going to do this. If you just want to practice with me, I want you guys to think about, it's called goal setting to the now, because you have to be able to think it first. So let's do that big financial goal that you have. Think about that big someday goal. What's that big someday goal that you want to have financially? And on page 2.9, just jot it down. Don't worry, you're not going to share this one. What's your someday goal financially? Now, Jenny said that her big why already know her big financial goal is that she said the R word. She said retire. That's not on mine, just so you know, because I don't know what I would do. I retired for 6 weeks in March of 2020, like everybody else did. No. And then I didn't get to travel and teach anymore. And that's when I discovered that my wife loves me exactly 5 days a week. So, yeah. Really? It's true. You know Pam pretty well. It's true. It's true. So that's not, but this is Jenny said, I want to retire. But then she started going in. Jenny wants to retire and live the lifestyle that she wants to live. So Jenny, you kind of went down this path and asked you a few questions. Would it be easier to retire if you were debt free? Absolutely. Would it be easier to retire if you had X number of dollars in the bank? Absolutely. Would it be easier to retire if you had X number of dollars of passive income coming in? Yes. So that's actually now, that's your someday goal. I will retire and be debt free and have X number of dollars of income, or X number of dollars of money in the bank, and X number of dollars of passive income coming in. That's what the big someday goal is. Now, here's what I'm going to challenge you to do. Go to 5 years from now. Based on that someday goal, Jenny, where should I be in 5 years? Where should you be in 5 years for that someday goal? So this would be an example. I was working with Jenny. I would say, okay, Jenny, in 5 years, what if you were debt-free except for your mortgage? Because if you're going to have debt, especially now, you have debt now, that's a good kind of debt to have because money's almost free. You get a mortgage. Be debt-free except my mortgage, and I'm going to have X number of dollars in the bank. That's going to be my goal. And I'm going to own outright my first passive income. And I think she said maybe investment property is what she was looking at. That would be an example of a 5 year goal. Now, I was teaching this class a couple years ago. This gentleman raised his hand at this point, and he said, Ken, still sell real estate, but I'm 86 years old. Is it okay if my someday goal and my 5 year goal are the same? And I said, yes, sir. That would be fine. I will let you do that for those two to be the same. And then now you just back it up 1 year. Jenny, based on your goal, where do you need to be in 1 year to be on track? Here's an example. So 1 year, I'm going to be debt free except for my mortgage and my car, but I'm going to get rid of all the bad debt. I'm going to have this much money in the bank, and I'm going to have the down payment for that first property within a year. So just in case this market changes, I'm ready to go when that deal pops up. Some people think we might start getting back into some foreclosures. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be ready. That's an example of that's where she could be in a year, be going. Now, here's what I know about everyone in this room. Here's what I know about your 1 year and your 5 year goals, because here's what the research tells us. We always overestimate what we can do in 1 year and underestimate what we can do in 5. And I have lived that because I've been tracking my goals for so long. I always overestimate. I never make my 1 year goal. In fact, my 1 year goal, I always make the second year. But by then I set a new goal. But 5 years out, 5 years ago, I sure as heck didn't think I could be doing this. 5 years ago, that's actually 5 years ago about now is when I found out that people would pay me to talk. And I've been doing it for free my whole life. So I didn't know. Yeah, we're gonna be in 1 year. Now go back to that now and you start breaking it down. What can I do this month? You know, this month, we're talking about debt. That's the first thing he said is get debt free. And you know what? I'm carrying this one bad debt. And so this month, I commit to paying this much down on that bad debt. That's what I'm gonna do. I got to get started somewhere. That'd be a great place to start 1 month. You know, what can I do this week? Well, this week you could start tracking your expenses. That'd be a great weekly or daily goal. If you really want to get somewhere weekly and daily, why don't you start tracking what you spend so you can figure out where your money's going to see if that doesn't make a difference and you get toward that someday goal. What could you do right now? Well, you know, we're talking about debt and the bad kinds. The vast majority of this room has more credit cards in their pocket than they need. Because you signed up for this to get 10% off, and you signed up for that, get this, you got this 1 points card, and you got to maybe just start cutting up on this. Maybe you start going, you know what? I don't need all these right now. This is not the way I want to live my life because I don't want to work forever. So that's how you back it up. In each area of your life, get that someday goal, and then just back up from there and break it down into what you can do now, and that's when it becomes real. And that's why you want, Todd, that's why you want that defined big why, so you can really lay that out. All right, 2.11, think action and accountability. I'll have to call this one. Don't always be getting ready to do something. Do you know that person that's, oh, when I get my business card, it's gonna be on. Oh, you know what? As soon as I finish my website, when my website's up and running, y'all better watch out. Oh, you know what? I gotta finish this flyer, but when I finish this flyer, I'm gonna start doing it like crazy. You can't, it's funny, y'all all looked at the same person. I feel bad for them. Don't always get ready to do something. You have to get action, and I'm gonna advise you to get accountable. I'm gonna advise you to get in accountability relationships. You cannot hold yourself accountable to the highest level. You don't have the willpower to do it. Get accountability relationships. Well, first off, find somebody in the same place as you to hold each other accountable. Find a mentor that will help you. Get into productivity coaching, so you've got someone to lead you. Get in the top 20% of your office, and then this time next year, when you get the invitation to be part of the ALC, the Agent Leadership Council, raise your hand and say, yeah, I'll do that. Because I know that if I'll help Amanda or Logan, if I will help them reach their goals, they're going to help me, they're going to hold me accountable to reaching my goals. Build a business big enough that you get a coach, get a max coach, or get another coach somewhere. I've got a coach. Through all these years, I've got a coach. I'm talking to my coach every Monday morning at 7 o'clock. He calls me just to tell me I suck. It's awesome. But I've got somebody that holds me accountable. I've got somebody that helps me meet those goals. Get in those relationships. Here's what I'll tell you about coaching. Who in the room has date night? Who has date night? So who am I? Oh, here we go. There you go. What's your name? Tracy. Now, is the person you have date night, are they in the room? Yeah. Okay, good. Because this might get uncomfortable, Tracy. This might get a little uncomfortable. They're not in the room. Do you promise that you will not tell Tracy's significant other her answer? Yes. Okay, good. I want you to be honest, Tracy. Is every single date night the most romantic experience you've ever had? No. In case y'all couldn't hear it, she said, no. Coaching's the same way. I don't hang up the phone every week and go, oh, that's it. Magic pill. Got to figure it out. Solve all my problems. Mainly because one of the two people in my coaching relationships is not real smart, but I won't talk about that. But that's not what happens. But here's what happens. 6 or 7 or 8 times a year, my coach helps me get to a breakthrough. My coach has helped me get into relationships. My coach has helped me get out of relationships. My coach has punched holes in my business and made it better. That's how coaching works. So get in those coaching relationships. Find somebody that will help hold you accountable to the goals that you set for yourself. You said that you wanted to do this. Do it. On that page, it just says you set the goals, do the activities, measure results, evaluate, and make adjustments, and you start over. So just bottom of that page quickly, write down who's going to hold you accountable. Bobby, do not write down Amanda. That's not going to work. That's Bobby. That's not going to work. Don't do it.
So you don't have time.
And Amanda said, or the energy. I heard you say that. All right. One of the pages, turn over to page 2.13. Actually, go ahead and turn to page 2.15. Go ahead there. So one of the things that we use at Keller Williams for accountability is called a 411. And I'm going to explain a 411 quickly to you, but we're going to fill one out today as we go through. When you leave here, you're going to have a 411 built out. Okay? Here's what a 411 is. It's 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. In reality, they should call it a 114, but that doesn't sound as cool as a 411 because we're going to start with that last one, the year. As we go through each model, we're going to talk about what your yearly goals are, and then we're going to break those yearly goals down into monthly goals. We're going to stop there for a while. At the end of the day, we're going to pick up the weeklies. We're not going to do that. Well, actually, we'll do that after the lead gen model. I'll go into that after the lead gen model. We're going to pick up what our weeklies are at that point. As we go through, I want you guys to understand it. So we're going to practice a 411 now. On the right side of that page, it says your annual personal goals. I want you to take a minute and I want you to write down 1, 2, or 3 personal goals. This has nothing to do with your business, although your business can fund these. But take 1 minute and where it says annual personal goals on the right, please write down 1, 2, or 3 annual personal goals. Any questions? All right, ready to go. Keep writing. Who's got one annual personal goal they'll share with us? Yes, ma'am. I want to go to Disney. All by yourself, right? With who?
My daughter will go every year.
You and your daughter go to Disney every year. Well, you know, the great thing is because of COVID, Disney is now free. Is that true?
Sure.
No. No. So if you go every year, now, by the way, if you have vacation written down of some sort, you have vacation, this is the way you plan that annual goal. So you want to go to Disney. You have an idea of how much money that costs because you've been, yeah, it's a lot. When do you want to go? In 2022, what month are we going? December. Oh, cool. So you've got a whole year. Here's what I would challenge you to do. I would take how much that Disney trip costs. I would divide by 12. And my monthly goal would be to put that money aside in a separate account for that vacation. Because you will never, ever, ever, ever enjoy a vacation as much as if you paid for it before you went. And you don't come home with a big bill to figure out how to pay when you get back. So if you have a vacation on there, that's the way to do it. Right now, this is it. I think it's going to cost this much. And I'm going to start my vacation fund today. Every month, I'm going to fund that vacation. So that when I know it's paid for, there's going to be no worry, there's going to be no stress, and can't taught me how to leverage. So someone's going to cover my business while I'm gone. So 2 years ago, we went on my wife's dream vacation. My wife's dream vacation was to take our 3 boys. Yes, KT's one of them. Was take our 3 boys to Hawaii for a week. That was her dream, and so I did for her dream vacation. Me and Pam and all 3 boys, and we went to Hawaii and we spent a whole week. And then at the end of that week, we had my dream vacation. We put them 3 boys on a plane back here, and we stayed another week. So we both. Hey, go ahead, Caleb. You can text KT right now and ask her if that is not true. That yes, he got to go to Hawaii for 1 week, and Mom and Dad stayed for 2. That is a true story. I'm not making that up. Who else has got a big why besides vacation? What do you want to accomplish? Yes, ma'am.
My daughter. Not all of it.
You got 6 or 7 months. So if you want to do that and feel good about it, instead of saying something, I pick that good. Pick that number, divide by 7, and let's start sticking that money. So, you know, bank accounts are free now. You know, I got a few of them. I have to stick stuff, just a half. I want this here, I want this here, I want this here. That's the way to do it. Here, do we like the guy? Okay. Yeah, this is.
Right now, I'm sure.
Then he's from Charlotte. There you go. It's probably my cousin. He's from Charlotte. Probably. Yeah. This is recorded. I'm glad you said yes. Who else got something? Yes.
So there's a private school for my kids.
He said 12 years of private school for each kid. How many kids you got?
2 and a third on the way to December. 3, 1.5, and 33.5 weeks pregnant.
So when you're doing yours, don't forget when you're putting that number in there.
That's happening.
So you already know what's happening, and you've adjusted for inflation over there because the price is going to go up over time, maybe.
I want with their 5% check and say, I'm prepaying.
I like it work. Well, here's the deal, then, so it's $500,000, that's only $100,000 a year. If you know $100,000 a year for the next 5 years and you walk in and say, here, then by the way, I have to tell you something. After those 12 years, sometimes they want to go somewhere else. I'm just saying. And then after that, sometimes they want to get married. I'm just saying. For those of you that somewhere out, there's a guy named Lucas Sherrod. Lucas Sherrod is Keller Williams, the speaker. Lucas Sherrod said one of the cool, and I don't know if he stole this or not, but he said one of the coolest things about kids one time, he was talking about his upbringing, and he didn't come from much. And he didn't want that for his kids. He wanted his kids to have opportunities he didn't have. And here's what he said. And he said, I never want to tell my kids no. I thought, that sounds dangerous to me. But he paused just long enough for you to think that. And then he said, because I have to. I never want to tell my kids no because I have to. I only want to tell my kids no because it's the right answer. It's what's best for them. But I don't want to tell them no because I have to. Isn't that cool? You know, it's funny that you're talking about, I was teaching this in Dallas last week. And we're doing in the very first row, and we're getting ready to break down these monthly goals. And the guy raises his hand and he raised his hand and for his big personal goal for 2022, and he said, have a baby. I was like, dude, I cannot break down monthly goals for you on that. I will ask, have you met her? And he said, oh yeah, I've met her. I said, well, good, we've got the first step. But I'm gonna leave it up to somebody else to do monthly goals. Now, don't fill in the weeklies. As we go, in fact, we'll do it here, we'll do it here. Do you see where it says weekly goals down there? Cross out the word goals and write the word activities. After the lead gen model, we're going to work on the activities that will drive us to all our goals, business and personal. Because for the most part, most of your personal goals will have a monetary, there'll be a monetary cost to them. Even if you put on there, I know people put on there that I want to lose 20 pounds. You know what? If you lose 20 pounds the correct way, it's going to cost something. Because there's probably things you need to do that involve eating healthy. It's not fair that eating healthy is more expensive. That's not right, but it's true. And there may be physically to do. I'm gonna run a marathon. You know what? To do it right, there's certain equipment, there's certain things that you need. So there's a monetary thing. I'm going to help you because our business has got to fund those as we go through. Any questions on the 411? Because we're going to come back to it all day long. All right, cool. 2.17, it talks about leverage commands. All right, listen to me. As we go through today, we're going to talk about a CRM or our database, or as we go through, we're going to talk about things like that. Listen to me. If you don't have one, use command. I guarantee you, if you don't have one, it will do everything that you need it to do. If you use something besides command, I'm okay with that. You've made that decision. Do me a favor. Pay attention to command. At some point, you might want to start running command beside whatever you use. And at some point, because of your budget model, you might go, this one that I paid this much for, and that command is expensive. Command, how much does command cost? Oh yeah, it's free. This one that I paid for versus this one, I'm just saying, so if you don't have one, use command. If you do have one, pay attention on them side by side. Now that is the extent of my technology. I know you're going, is that really KT's dad? It's really, guys, I teach one technology class a year. It's on April 1st. Y'all should come to that. It's awesome. I'm not going to go big into tech, just know that it's there, and there are people much smarter than me. If they say they're much smarter than me, I will judge them partially on Thursday. Turn to page 2.19. Who are my new people again? Who are my new people? Or maybe new to Keller Williams. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. At Keller Williams, we will make a triangle out of anything. Just pay attention. You'll see it happen. We will.
Yeah.
And they did that, and that is a wrong. That is, no one's ever said, hey, Kent, did you know that your triangle is wrong? Because that's supposed to say leads, listings, leverage, and not leverage twice. This is to say my back's always to the PowerPoint. I never see it. In your book, it's correct. It's leads, listings, leverage. God, that's funny. That's what it's built on. And this business plan is set at the bottom of that page. It says a business plan will, and it won't. I'm supposed to go, hey, Y'all guess yes or no on all 9 questions, all 7 questions. Since we started a little bit late, the answer is yes on all of them. Your business plan will help you do all those if you follow the models. Here, what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do the 5 models today. And in the MRA book, there's 4. Now there's 5. Economic model. That's the first one. That's just the numbers you must hit to make a profit or the net income that you want to make. That's our economic model. We'll start with that one. Then we'll have lunch. I'm not sure exactly what we're having, but I'm pretty sure I saw something that said macaroni and cheese. Did it? I thought I saw that. This will be a long afternoon, man. I'm gonna be a little awake in here. Can we get more coffee after lunch? Okay, good. After economic model, we'll come back from lunch with the lead gen model. Once we know the profit we want to make, I'm just going to teach you guys how to gauge what lead gen do I need to do to get there. How am I going to lead gen in to make those numbers? Now, the majority of the day is spent on those 2 models. That's where we focus today. After that, though, I will do that budget model. I'm going to help you set those parameters and go, you can't do more than this if you want to have the business that you said you want to have. It's just the way it works. And we'll finish up the organizational model. We'll just talk about, okay, Kent, if I really built it, what if I wanted to go speak 70, 75 days across the country like you do? How big do I need to build it? And I'm going to set it for you. I'm going to say, here's when you get to go to the next level. Here's how many transactions you need to do. Is that okay if I just break that down for you and give you an easy number?
Yes.
Yeah, then we'll set it down. Organization model. The 5th model is the expansion model. I'm going to give you the 15-second version of that, just so you know, and tell you where to go if you want to learn more about that. By the way, if you ever get confused on what order the models come in, I'm gonna give you the secret. Elbow. I'll remember elbow. Economic, lead gen, budget, organization. That's the order. That's what we'll cover today. That's the way they're in the book. Cool. All right, page 2.23. We'll get ready for a break here in a second. 2.23. Write down your aha so far. What are your aha so far? Hey, Zoom land, feel free to put aha in the chat if you want. Someone from that. You leverage out.
Be more specific about your big why.
Oh, wow. Okay, now here's what I love about classes. How long have you been in real estate?
35 years.
35 years. How long have you been in Keller Williams?
3.5.
3.5. And yet here she is in a class. Did I just lose that? Can we get back on? How about now? There we go. There we go. Here she is learning. So when I was in San Antonio, it's back on, it. Or am I losing the battery? Okay. I love technology. KT knew I was talking about him, so he did that. Caleb texted him and he went, well, I'll fix him. He would have networked somehow shut me down. I was in San Antonio teaching this. A guy named Steve Schleter came to my class. Steve Schleter in 1998 got hired to be a team leader, and Gary Keller was his OB. And then when this book came out, Gary Keller and Dave Jinks toured the country, and they talked about this, and Steve Schleter went with them. Schleter went with them because he was the backup in case Dave Jinks couldn't go on. And he's in my class. He's listening to me talk. So we got to the first grade, and I asked for ahas, and Steve was the first one that raised his hand. And I thought, that's an awesome dude right there. He wants to throw Ken a bone and give me an aha. And so at break, I went up to Steve. I said, Steve, thank you for doing it. He goes, no, that was real. He said, I've read that book 100 times, and I never got that out of it. I've read it because Steve's in a different place in his life than he was today. And that's why you come back and you do these things. So thank you, Chair. Who else has got an aha? Share with us.
My brain in the office.
Oh, time to get competitive, huh? Yeah, I like that. I like that. I saw a hand back there. A lot of freedom. Cool. I mean, here's the thing. You would probably spend your free time different than I would. And I get that. I get that. I know that I'm the one that's different in the room. I actually like being on the side of the table. That's half the reason I do this. Half the reason that I get on the side of the table, I like being up here. I like to be the one holding the microphone when it works. Here's the other half though. This is my way of giving back. Keller Williams has blessed me beyond my wildest dreams. Yeah, I had a pretty cool previous life, but it did not create the life by design that I wanted. Keller Williams has done that for me. This is me giving back is the other, that's the two reasons I do it. I would not do it for just one of those two. Wouldn't make sense. It takes both of them. What's the life by design you would have? Thank you. What else? Yes, ma'am.
It's similar to what Jerry said on the big one, I break it down to smaller, more specific pieces. It's really break-
Yeah, break down that big one. And here's what, does your big why change? Well, of course it does. Dude, once upon a time, I was you. I had all those kids that had to figure things out. I'm gonna tell you something. Do not kill your kids because they'll give you grandkids, and grandkids are so much better. Grandkids are awesome. That's the reason, just let them live, okay? You'll make it through eventually. What else? Just so you know, I had kids really young, and thank you, and so did my kids. So, am I on? No. See, even I did it. What else?
When you think about your value proposition as far as real estate, what makes you different? Ask yourself that question.
It's at the end of the day, there's a lot of similarities. There is a lot of similarities. What does make, and I know somebody, I think way in the back, I think he's the one that said I would market. He's probably great at marketing, right? That needs to be part of his. I know, on my team, we like to tell people how good we are at negotiating. If you sell real estate in North Carolina right now, there's this thing called a due diligence fee. I guarantee you, if you took the average of what we accept for our clients as a due diligence fee versus what we give as a due diligence fee, I guarantee you, we get twice what we give because we're good negotiators and we know how to set up the contract that it makes sense. And that's a big deal because occasionally it doesn't work out. So that's what we tell people. If you want the most money for your house, you go with us. I mean, that's a big deal. That's part of our service. Yeah. What else? Lead gen. We'll wait till after lunch for the lead gen. We'll do the economic model first, but then after lunch, we're gonna hit that hard. The book says, without appointments, nothing else happens. Wow, shocking. I don't have people to talk to, nothing else happens. Give me one more and then we'll take a break.
Stay on board, that's not like-
What is it?
stay on board, that's not like-
Yeah, well, we just got that one right. Just you never stop, guys. I'm on everything. Anytime there's training to be had, 'cause I learn things and as we go through. Is Keller Williams a company for everybody? No. Be honest with you. If you are not learning based, we're probably not a company. If you don't want to learn anything else, we're probably not a max. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. And the way it is now, there's pretty much not anywhere else that you can hang your license that one or two additional sales a year would not make up for the difference in what we would pay brokers. And I'm gonna tell you, if you come to Keller Williams and we don't have the training and the education and the technology that you can sell at least 2 more houses a year, then go somewhere else. But I guarantee you we do. We track those things. We look when people leave and watch where their business goes. I'm saying, all right, I said one more, but I heard voices. Who else had one? Yes.
Get into the accountability relationship regardless of what it's.
Accountability relationships. What are you going to get into? Have you heard this one? Have you heard the you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with? Yeah. I'm gonna give you another one to think about when you're talking about accountability. Hang out with people that remind you of your future, not your past. Who do I want to follow around? Who do I want to follow around? All right. We're gonna take a break, and I'm gonna give you till 10:40, so you can check your emails and make your calls. Do not go outside, because you will not want to come back. Stay in a dark place as you go. 10:40, I'll see you then. Three minutes later, fire trucks came, ambulances came. It's like, this is what we don't go outside.
Should I take this on target for a moment?
Yeah.
Here we go, 1, 2, 3.
So as we go through this day, as we go through the day, I am going to be grading y'all, and so far you guys have an A on participation. You have a D+ on follows directions, because 2/3 of you were outside in the sand. So I told these guys up here, when I was in Charleston last week, I taught train the presenter, and in that class, there's a part where you go and you actually practice your presentation alone, but out loud. And then you get with a partner and you practice it. We were in a really small room. There wasn't room, and I've never done this. But I said, you know, it's a beautiful day. We're gonna go in that common area outside, and I'm gonna let you guys practice there. So we went outside. It was perfect. I mean, the weather was perfect. Everybody had plenty of room. They were all spaced out. So they got together and they were doing their presentations. And also looked over, and in the parking lot, here comes a car driving real slow. And there's a police car behind it with the blue lights on. And all of a sudden, the guy whips it, he takes off, siren starts going, he's chased him. We hear the skid marks, we hear the crash at the intersection. And then 3 minutes later, we started hearing the fire trucks and the ambulance and everything. And that's why now I'm very careful about letting people go.
I did text Casey to confirm.
Yes.
He said, yep, good old dad.
Good old dad. He confirmed the why story. Yes, mom's dream vacation versus dad's dream vacation, not always the same. So it's true. So I told you earlier, we'll make a triangle out of anything. So I'm gonna go back to this is another triangle from the MRA book. And so I'm going to use this one as my example. So in this triangle MRA book, and it talks about the different levels that you can go through in your career. And so in the MRA book, at the bottom part, the biggest part of the triangle, it has the word think. Think. Yeah, the biggest part, so the lines are all the same part, but as you go across there, the one that says think is the bottom. Then you go above that one and it says earn. And then you go above that one and it says net. And then the smallest part says seek. So that was the 4 levels in the book. Now go back to 2000 when they did the research. And they were talking about the millionaire real estate agent. Now, to be a millionaire real estate agent, the true definition is this, that you net $1 million in your pocket. That you actually have a net profit of $1 million is the true definition. You go back to 2000, there were a lot of people that couldn't even think that. Because if If you follow a model to net $1 million in your pocket, you have to have a GCI, a gross commission income of 2.5 million. Guys, in 2000, it was different. When I got into real estate in 2005, at that first family reunion that I was at, where they do the big awards banquet, the reason I got into real estate is Pam was already at Keller Williams, I would just go with her seat, and people were doing, they had these huge GCIs, and I wanted to get into that. Here's how huge it was. In 2005, there was one person in the Carolinas that had $1 million GCI. One in 2005. Last year, there were 77 that had $1 million GCI. Things have changed. But anyway, in 2000, a lot of people couldn't even think $1 million in GCI. There were people that earned it. There were some people that earned it. There were a few people that had a net of $1 million in the whole country. There were just a few in the whole country that could net it, and nobody had a passive income of $1 million. That just didn't exist. Well, now you fast forward 20 years and things have changed. You know, now based on the way real estate is, and now we have so many examples. Pretty much anybody can think what it would take. They can think what it would take to earn $1 million. There's a lot of examples of people that are actually earning $1 million GCI. You have some in your offices that actually do it. You've got examples right there beside you that have $1 million GCI. In the Carolinas, there's about at least 7 or 8 people that, if they're following the model, have over 2.5 million in GCI, which means if they're following the model, they should be netting $1 million. And now you have people that receive $1 million a year in passive income because they built it that big. So in the new model, they've added a level. Instead of 4 levels to this triangle, there's 5. And now the top one above receive is give. What if you built it so big you could give $1 million away? What would that look like? So that's the new one. Now, here's what I want to tell you about those things. Anybody can think $1 million. That if you can think $1 million, that doesn't make you special. To earn $1 million, you have to have sales skills. If you're going to earn $1 million, you need to concentrate on the skills it takes to sell. If you're going to net $1 million, you have to have business skills. To net $1 million, you've got to be able to sell, but you have to have the business skills to be able to keep enough to make $1 million. If you receive $1 million, you have to have leadership skills. You have to have leadership of other people to be able to do it. So that's the levels that you're going to go through in your growth if you want to do really big things in real estate. That's not hard to do that. I just like doing that part. That's why I backed up and did it. Economic model. So we're going to go through this. We're going to do the millionaire real estate agent model first. I'm going to talk about these. So we're talking about the millionaire real estate agent. We're talking about following the model. So how much money does the millionaire real estate agent want to net in their profit after they paid everything? Well, no, that's percentage, but what's the number? $1 million. $1 million. It's very sensitive to that. Okay, $1 million. And this is, I'm in your book, guys. I'm on page 3.1 if you want to follow along. So when we talk about this $1 million, that net income, this is the amount of money that the millionaire real estate agent is going to take home in their pocket before they talk to their crazy uncle. Because their Uncle Sam is going to want part of that. Here's why we don't include Uncle Sam in today's class. Taxes are never part of today because taxes are different everywhere. I was in Texas a couple weeks ago. They don't have state income tax. It just so we throw that out. It's $1 million. Then you deal with Uncle Sam afterwards, just so you know. Now, here's what the model says. The model says the millionaire real estate agent, if they run the model properly, they're going to net 40%. So that means that I'm going to take $1 million, divide by 40%. That tells me the GCI of $2.5 million. Just that's the way the math works. And then we know that the millionaire real estate agent, and trust me, I'm going to go deeper on all this in a minute. The millionaire real estate agent is going to spend 30% on operating expenses. That's $750. They're going to spend 30% on cost of sale. That's $750. That's just, that's it. If they follow the model, they're gonna hit it. Now, they did the research and we're doing this way. What's your average commission amount? Well, for the millionaire, this is, the research said it's about $7,000, $7,150 to be exact. How'd they come up with that? It's like 275,000 times 2.75% seem to be the averages. That's where you got that. So you just take 2.5 million and an average commission of 7,000. You know, real estate's got to sell 350 houses. Now, don't freak out. This is not a person. When I'm doing these numbers, this is not a person. This is somebody that's built it so big, they have a team that is helping this. By the way, there's people on that team that are doing very well themselves, being part of that team. So don't freak out. We just have to look at the big model. We'll do yours later, and I'll help you with all these numbers. Now, they built it so big that we know that they're going to do. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna. No, because then they don't pay attention. I'm gonna go here for a second and just see if this works. Let's see if this works.
We really made it simple for you today.
I hate technology. Don't like technology. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do this here for a second, just so we go through, because I wanted to get this. Me and real estate agents built the business so big, there we go. Half their business is on the listing side. Makes sense. You know, there's one buyer for every one seller, right? Not gonna play. So if you take 350 times 50%, that means they have to sell 175 listings. Again, it's a team. They've got to sell 105. They know their conversion rate. It's about 70%. So if they take that 70%, we'll talk about that in a minute. That means that they've got to go on, they've got to take 250 listings. They know their next conversion rate is about 75%. So they're going to divide by that. 333 listing appointments is what they need. That might sound big, people might sound, but it's just a number. It's what the model says you have to do. You go to the other side, 50% is buyers. So you just do that 350 times 50%, you got to have 175 buyers. They know that first conversion rate, they know that 70% of the time that they talk to a buyer, they actually sign buyer agencies, say 250 buyer agencies, and they know their appointment conversion rate is about 70%, except at 357 buyer appointments. It's just numbers, it's just math. That's what you see this, so when we do yours, it makes sense. I'm going to talk you through all of it. We're going to go really slow so it makes sense. That's what the millionaire real estate agent plan looks like. Now,
Can you go back one note? I just want to highlight.
Sure.
Not to tell you how to do anything, but it's 7 a week at the bottom. You know, when you break that down, it becomes way more bite-sizable. And when I'm coaching people, I will say, so if it's $500,000, right? All you have to do is move the decimal. And so instead of 7 a week, it's 3.5 a week, 3.5 a week, and then you know that that's your next $500,000. So that's what's I think fascinating about the model is you can just move the decimal to the goal, and then it's very bite-sized.
and the reason we do this is just for you to understand the millionaire real estate agent does this the same way you're going to do it. We're just going to use your numbers, and I'm going to help you put all your numbers in, but I wanted you to see theirs. And actually, before we do yours, we're going to look at theirs again. We're actually going to do the math of theirs as we go through. So in 3.33, it talks about performance, investment, outcomes. So when you look at this, I look at investment first. What does it cost you to be in real estate? What costs you time and it costs you money? Your money's a two-way: cost of sales and operating expenses. I'm going to talk about those in a second. Performance are the things that you have more control over. It's your behavior, it's your skills, it's your knowledge, it's the resources that you take advantage of. Where these two intersect, that's the outcome. Where these two meet, that's the outcome, and that is your net profit. That's your income. That's what these circles mean. Is you look for, how do I make those two act? Now I want you to think of these circles in a different way. Where it says performance, what if the word like was there? If it said, what if you wrote in that circle, this is what I like to do? And then where it says investment, what if you wrote the things you were good at? So you got a circle with what you like to do and a circle what you're good at. Where those two circles intersect, if you can work there, then you'll never work a day in your life. See, for me, I'm a very social person. I like people. So I kind of live in this area where I like to, what am I good at? Some reason I can talk. Actually, it's the only thing I can do. I have no other skill set beyond that, pretty much. So I have found ways that I got into real estate because it allowed me to talk to people, and then I just had to learn what I want to talk about. And then I got this opportunity to do this. I never work a day in my life. I was excited to be here this morning. I knew that I was going to get to do the things that I like to do today. So I really don't think I work a whole lot. You be quiet. Don't say a word. All right. So when we were doing when I first started, somebody over here said, one of you two said 40%. 40%. Let's talk about it. On page 3.15. I want to talk about this. So the millionaire real estate agent model says this. If you follow the millionaire real estate agent model, you will net 40% of your GCI in your pocket. 40%. How do you feel about that number? You say it's a good number? Why is it a good number? What makes 40% good? Well, only if you have a lot of GCI, right? Okay, in the business world, is a 40% net profit good?
Yes.
Sir.
And so a lot of yeses. He says, absurd. What do grocery stores net profit?
1%.
The number I've heard is grocery stores net profit about 2 to 3%. So about, I don't know, 3 years ago now, I guess, you would have thought that they were moving the White House to Mooresville, North Carolina. There was so much hype and people were so excited because we were getting Costco. I'm telling you, it still is. What do you think Costco net profits on their products?
But they make $6 billion.
They make pretty close to zero on their products. That's what their advantage. Where they make their money is on all the memberships they sell. And think of this, would you not be happy to make zero on the product if you sold enough memberships? Here's the perfect proof of, if you don't believe what I'm telling you, you don't have to ask them. Just look at this. I want you to look at any retailer out there, especially like grocery stores and people that sell the things like they do, like grocery stores and pharmacies, and look at the hours that anybody else is open. Then look at Costco hours. Banks are open more often than Costco is. They don't open until 10 o'clock in the morning. You know why? Because why staff it longer than you have to if you make no money on that? You already sold the daggone membership. Just telling you this, a 40% net profit is huge. It's giant. The only people that make 40% are attorneys, accountants, service industry kind of people. Only people can post that. Now, solo agents in the room that are not leveraged out. You want some good news? You can make, as a solo agent, you can net profit 55 to 60% instead of 40. And you're going, well, then why would I want to leverage out? Well, the millionaire real estate agent makes more money than you do. They make a smaller net percentage of their GCI than you do. So that's the tightrope you're going to walk. Is solo agent though 55 to 60% if you follow the model. You'll actually make more money as you go through. Now, let's talk about these other two numbers. I'm going to start with cost of sales. I'm going to tell you what cost of sale is so that you understand. When you have a closing, who's the check made out to? It's made out to your brokerage or your firm. It's made out to Keller Williams. When we talk today, the amount of that check, that is your GCI. That is your gross commission income. Do not subtract anything out in your head. If you're a solo agent, the amount of that check is your GCI. If you're a rainmaker on a team, the amount of that check is your GCI. If you're a buyer's agent or a listing specialist on a team, the amount of that check is your GCI. Do not change it. I will take everything out of there for you when we work through the process. Now, you take that check And in Wilmington, who do we hand that check to? Roland. So you take that check with your total GCI, you give it to Roland. Anything that Roland takes out of that check before Roland gives it back to you is your cost of sale. That's it. Nothing else is cost of sale except for that. Now, there's only a few things that Roland takes out. What could Roland possibly take out of your check? All right, so I heard company dollar up here. So any money that you pay your brokerage, we call it company dollar, we call it split, we call it roll, whatever it is, whatever we call it, anything you pay your brokerage, that's a cost of sale. You only pay your brokerage if you sell something. What else? Any referral fee paid to the Temple team in the Charlotte Lake Norman area of North Carolina. Remember, today's a lot about lead gen. And I did lead gen to 80 people while y'all were great, because everybody got my bookmark. Thank you for turning it around to Pam's picture, Logan. Thank you for doing that. Yes, I noticed that. I noticed you immediately flipped yours over. Yes, I did, Logan. Any referral fee that you paid out now, in today's class, we don't count referral fees. And here's why, there's no way to track it. And for everyone you give, you should receive one. So we just kind of that referral fee. What else? Okay. Any split or any money you pay another agent, that is part of your cost of sale. If you're a rainmaker and you have buyer's agents and listing specialists, that's cost of sale. If you're a buyer's and listing specialist, you pay your right, that's a cost of sale. If you have a productivity coach that you pay out of your commission check, that's licensed, that's a cost of sale. You only pay that when you sell something. Guys, besides KW Cares, that's it. And we don't count KW Cares today because y'all don't give enough.
Hey,
That is awesome. Yes, I will be calling you soon. Calling you soon. That's awesome. Yeah, that's it. Guys, that's all the cost of sale is things that come out of that check before Roland hands it back to you. Now, operating expenses. So question for you. What do your clients think you get paid every time you sell a house? 6%? Yeah, you get 6% every time you sell something. What do your clients think your operating expenses are? Well, you got some gas. In reality, what categories make up your operating expenses?
Salary, taxes.
So it could be a salaries that you pay. Now, okay, time out. I'm gonna say this. Taxes, we're not gonna count that today. That's gonna be after I know you pay taxes. It's gonna be after our net income today because everybody's different depending on where you live. What else? Salaries? Oh, lead gen costs? Software, technology, education and training, dues, memberships, rent, occupancy, advertised marketing, signs. Yeah. In reality, so anything that you write a check for, whether you sell something or not, that's your operating expenses. Millionaire Real Estate has a big business. They're going to spend 30 on cost of sale, 30 on operating expenses, net income of 40. And that's what we're going to work off of today. Page 3.15. I want you guys to do this with me. All right, I know this is the first class you've ever heard this. Get your phone out. And I say get your phone out because I know that's where your calculator is. Now, don't freak out when we start doing math today. Typically, only 5 to 10% of the class cries during the math part. So at the top where it says focus on gross commission income. I know this today, when we get ready to do this, and I ask them, I say, write down how much money you want to net profit next year. Over half this room is going to write down the same number. What number are they going to write down, Logan? $100,000. So let's talk about that 100,000. It just comes up a lot. So focus on gross commission income where it says total GCI at the top of page 3.15. Write down $100,000. Just write that in. Now put that in your calculator. $100,000. I want you to multiply by 30%. What's $100,000 times 30%? What is it? 30,000. So where it says operating expenses, write 30,000. All right, now put $100,000 back in your calculator. Now multiply by 30% again. Now what number did you get that time? Did you get the same one? Well, we had to make sure your calculator worked, or that you knew how to work a calculator. So operating expenses, right in $30,000. Now just do the math there. 100,000 minus 30,000 minus 30,000. What's your net income? 40,000. Awesome. You guys can do math. I like it. Let's focus on net profit. Where it says net income, write in $100,000. And we have to do this a little different. So do this with me. To figure this out, I want you to take your net income and I want you to divide by 40%. Net income divided by 40%. What number do you get? So where it says total GCI, write in 250,000. Drop down there, write in 250,000. If you want to net 100, you need GCI 250. Now take 250,000, 250, and multiply by 30%. So where it says operating expenses, write 75,000, and where it says cost of sale, write 75,000. Now this is going to sound crazy, but which do you like better? You like net 100,000. I want to change your. So most businesses would focus on gross commission. They say, well, this is probably what we made this year, and this is our expenses. There we go. That's it. We're not going to think like that today. We're going to think about, when we do yours, we're going to think about how much money you want to make in your pocket. How much money you want to make in your pocket, and then we're going to figure out how to do it. We're not going to accept what you made this year. We're not going to accept what a business would do. We're going to think differently. How much money do you want to make? We're going to do that. All right, 3.17. Now we're going to start talking about you. So we're going to do this together. I want you guys to hang with me on this, okay? Humor me as we go through. So shocking on 3.7, there's a triangle. We'll do the left side first. We'll do the listing side first. So on that first blank over the left, this says that when the millionaire real estate agent has a listing appointment, 75% of the time, they get the listing. Millionaire said that they have a listing appointment. Can that be right? Because I mean, I would think that the millionaire real estate agent would be really good at the listing appointment.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that, I mean, I wouldn't want to compete with them for a listing. They're going on 333 of them a year. Why do you think it's only 75%? Okay, so that, you know, no one ever says that. She said, we're using a conservative number. There's some truth on all four of these that we're being conservative. I'm going to give you that one. I don't usually tell people that, but that she said it. Why else? Yes. Can you say that louder?
They choose not to take those things that don't have motivated sellers.
I'm looking around. There's a couple of you that I think there's a couple of you are close. I think everybody in here has reached puberty. Okay. You have left the puberty of your real estate career when you look at a seller and say, I will not take your listing. Either you're crazy on what your price is, you're not motivated, but that's when you have reached that point in your career, when you tell them, I'm sorry, I'm in the business of taking signs down, not putting signs up. And the millionaire real estate agent will tell you no. Why else is it? But that ain't gonna happen 1 out of 4 times, I hope. Why else?
They're not going on all the appointments.
Well, they're going on the appointments, but they're not, because so man, what's going on right now? There's people in this room that are patting themselves on the back, because they're going, I get 100% for listening to time call. That's right, because you listen to your mama and your best friend. You was 3 for 3. Congratulations. The main real estate agent goes on the hard ones. They compete for listings. They actually go to people's house they don't know. Just saying, if yours is 100%, you're either really, really good, or possibly you're not going on enough. Because I would much rather be 75%, because I got 75 listings out of the 100 I went on, than be 100% and I went on 10. I think the economics will work out better for me. And granted, I mean, just so y'all know, when I tell you this, I'm not different from a lot of people in this room. Y'all heard of the DISC? The DISC is a personality assessment. It does not tell if you have it or not. You do. It just tells how you lead. Okay? And here's how we lead. This dealer, and by the way, we don't have an agreement with the DISC anymore. We have our own names now. So if we come to these are the drivers, they're determined, they want it fast, they want it now. Why is kids still talking? We could do a budget model already if we just, yeah, that's them, right? And they're in this room, I know they are. I'm like, come on, snap it up, snap it up. We call these people assertive now. There's a lot of assertive people in real estate because they want to control their destiny. Okay? The second one is the social people. They're called highs here, we call them social. They got real estate, they like talking to people. I was watching HGTV, it's awesome, like Show Tree House, and I'm gonna have my own show at that time. These are the people who voted most likely to leave the party with the lampshade still on their head. You know what I'm talking about? Yes, okay. The old S, we call these the steady people. These are the people that like things 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. That's how they like things. By the way, 69% of the population leads here. That means they're not like most of you. Did you catch that? And these are the structured people. Structured people like things A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, but they want to know why it's A, B, C, D. Give me a reason. I'm telling you this because this is me. I'm the social person. And if I can get over people telling me no, you can too. I know there's a bunch of social people in this room. It took me 5 minutes to start class back after break. So just remember, Keller Williams, we don't follow the DISC anymore. Okay. There was a rumor that there was a new group of energetic people. That is not true. I'm going to come back to this today about this DISC so you understand it. Go on the hard ones and be willing to take no for an answer to build a big business. But that's why the millionaire real estate agent is only 75% of the time. That first blank top left, they get the listing 70% of the time. You get to write down your number right now. How often do you get the listing? And by the way, you have to fill in all 4 blanks of this page in your economic model. You have to write in a number. Unless you're a buyer's agent, then you can skip this side and the other side. But write in a number. New agents in the room, listen to me. If I were you, I would write down 75%. Since you don't know your number, I would say, you know what? I'm not going to do what Kent said. I'm not only going to go to my friend's house. I'm going to go on harder listings, and I might not get them all. I would write down 75. If you know your number, okay, 75%. They say that is the research shows. Does everybody have one number written down on that page? You gotta have to do it. Okay, good. Bottom left. This one says 75% of the time that the millionaire real estate agent takes a listing, they close on the house. Be honest, how you feel about that number? How you feel? Underwhelmed. I heard low. If y'all were being honest, somebody would say that sucks. Why is that? Well, okay, now hold on. She said the millionaire real estate is not doing their job. Time out. What's the market right now? Raise your hand if you sold 100% of the listings you took this year, like I did. Again, if you weigh enough to put up the sign. If you don't sell a listing now, it's either extremely overpriced or the condition is just too bad. That's pretty much it to sell a house. In today's market, are you going to sell more than 75% of listings you take? In 2010, I sold 48% of the listings that I took. Who's in the business in 2010? Did y'all have the same experience as me? It was a different market. New agents in the room. In 2010, now these don't exist anymore. This is like ancient. In 2010, we had this thing. It was called an expired listing. And on the day they expired, we actually called them to see if they wanted to list with us next. Shocking. 75% is a good historical average. So I get that today is a little different. So on the bottom left, write in the percentage of listings that you take that you actually close on. I would advise you probably not to write 100 because I'm going to hope you step out. And I can't guarantee the market's going to be like this next year. At some point today, I'll tell you what my crystal ball says about next year. But right now, I'm okay if you write higher than 75. New agents, I might write 75 just to protect myself and make sure I succeed. Just a thought. Does everybody have the two numbers on the left written down? You're going to need them in a minute. Let's go to right side buyers. Now, this says that 70% of the time, the millionaire real estate agent, if they have the appointment, they sign by our agency or they show them houses. How do you feel about that number? Say it's low. Oh, come on.
It's low.
Do you not think it's low? I think it's low, and here's why I think it's low. Because I don't buy leads. I am not telling you not to buy leads. If you buy in the budget model, and the lead gen model, we're going to talk about that. And buying leads works, but for me, it doesn't work. If you buy leads, your percentage is going to be way down here. My percentage is higher because I'm closer to the lead than they are. It's just a number. Don't overthink this number. Being a real estate, 75% of the time, somewhere there, they get it. What's your number? Mine's higher than that. But write in your number. How often that you have that conversation, do you actually get the client on the buyer side? New agents. I'd probably write in 75% if I were you, just to protect yourself for next year. But write in your number. How often will you get it? And it just depends on where your lead sources are coming from when you do that number. Now, I do not like the next number. My least favorite number on the page is the next one. This one says 75% of the time, the millionaire real estate agent that they sign by our agency actually close on a house. Now, I don't know about you, but I am not an Uber driver. Now, there might be some in here, but I'm not going to drive people around unless I'm going to close on a house. What are some reasons that you might show somebody houses and they don't close on one? What is it? Oh, wow. So you're telling me that they told you they could buy a house, and then it turned out they could. Have you ever heard buyers are liars?
Yes.
Sellers are too. That is, yes, sellers are too. Here's the thing. Let's don't think that, but here's what I know happens. Do buyers sometimes stop the information and they get approved and what they told them wasn't true? Here's my thoughts. If I get your answers every buyer, if it gets to be that it's happening kind of often that they don't qualify after you show them a house, you need to work on your pre-qualifying skills before you put crazy people in the backseat of your car. Same. What else? Yeah, some people all of a sudden they get priced out of the market. Is that happening right now? Yes. Do we are prices going to go down? I don't think so, but do we need price appreciation to slow down? Yes, we don't price people out. Why else?
Realistic expectations.
What is it? I heard something back there. Okay, I just wrote my 5th offer and I didn't win again. This sucks. I'm out. Yeah, buyer fatigue happens. It happens. In a different market, do sometimes like inspections come back and not true? Yes. Hey, several people raise their hand. Y'all been in this business for a while? You ever been working with somebody? You might even be under contract. they lose their job. It's happened to me. I've had them get transferred a week before closing, like, you didn't see that coming. How about this one? It's 2 days to a closing and the phone rings and they're going, Kent, guess what? It's got a new F-250. I'm gonna need it to move. And I'm going, you're a first time home buyer. Can you take, no, you can't take it back? What is it?
We had one that retired right before the place.
They retired.
Yeah, and then their mother was found for verification.
They retired right before they closed.
We might close, but.
Hey, if you will give their name to Jenny, and she's gonna help them with their big wild ride retirement. Appraisals, you know, there's all these things happen. At the end of the day, you're not gonna close on all of them. New agents in the room, I'd put 75% here. I'd put 0%. You need these 4 numbers to do your economic model. Does everybody have their economic model? I have those 4 numbers, so we can do it. You good? All right, we'll come back to it. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna practice now. Get your phone out from your calculator. Can I not trust her phone now? All right. Here's what we're gonna do. In your calculator, we are gonna do the Millionaire Real Estate Agents, because we're gonna do theirs exactly like we're gonna do yours. Exactly. And I'm gonna talk about it as we go through. This will just make it easier. I want you to practice the math. I know we just looked at it, but I want to do it again. So first number, how much money does a millionaire real estate agent want to net profit next year? $1 million. So where it says net income, I'm gonna pay, what page one? Somebody tell me. 3.9. All right. At the top where it says net income, write $1 million and then put $1 million in your calculator. Put $1 million in your calculator. Millionaire real estate agent will net 40%. I want you to take $1 million and divide by 40%. And that's going to tell you the total GCI that the millionaire real estate agent needs to make. What's $1 million divided by 40%? Where it says total GCI, write in 2.5 million. The millionaire real estate agent follows a model. The model says they will spend 30% on cost of sales and 30% on operating expenses. Multiply 2.5 million times 30%. 2.5 million times 30%. What number did you get? Where it says operating expenses, write 750,000. And where it says cost of sale, write 750,000. That is their business. They follow a model. This is what it looks like. Now, buyers, agents in the room. I have some of you here, I think. When we're doing this, I want you to do everything that I tell everybody else to do. There's going to be one change. You are still working off the same model they're working on. There's one change. Here's the change. If you are a buyer's agent, your cost of sale is going to be more than 30%. If you are a buyer's agent, your operating expenses are going to be way less than 30%. At the end of the day, you're working off the same model. It's just those 2 numbers are really a combination number for you as you go through. Same model. Don't say, well, so my average commission is 3, I'm going, no. Just follow the model. You just have to know that's a combined number for you. That's the difference. You're working off the same model. The buyer's agents on my team actually have a net profit percentage. No, the top 2 buyer's agents on my team that sell a lot of real estate, their net percentage is both above 40. Because they have a big business they built under mine, and it's crazy. So last March of 2020, when everything went to where in a handbasket, and we thought the world was ending, it didn't. It's bad timing. I'll tell you why. But was ending. For 6 weeks, I didn't sleep. Because there's a lot of people that rely on me. When people say, how many people on your team? I say, like last I counted, there was 57. I'm like, 57? I said, yeah. Because there's Jenny, and Jenny's married to James, and they have 2 kids, and it just goes out from there. There's a lot of people that count on me. I didn't sleep for 6 weeks. The buyers agents on my team, guess what they did at night? Well, slept well. Yes. Slept well. So just when we're doing this, follow along. All right. You can write this number in. I'm going to give you this number. The next number where it says average commission amount, put 7150. That's the average for me and our real estate agent. We'll do yours when we get to you. So I want you to take 2,500,000 and divide by 7,150. And that's going to tell you how many units sold the millionaire real estate agent has to sell. How many is that? By the way, in the model in the book, to be a millionaire real estate agent, they had to sell 320. 20 years, that never had to change. Here's what has changed. I didn't know any people when I first started teaching this that sold 350 units. Now we do. Yeah, now we got examples to look at in our life. We don't have to look somewhere else to find them. So 350. Let's do the seller side. So where it says percentage seller listings sold, write in 50% because they have a balanced business. Don't worry, we'll talk about yours in a minute. Write in 50%. Take 350 times 50%. And that's going to tell you how many listings they have to sell. How many listings they got to sell? 175. 175. That's it, it's 175. Now, they know their conversion rate is 75%. Excuse me, 70%. So take 175 and divide by 70%. Let's say that divide by 70% is going to tell you how many listings they have to take. How many they got to take? 250. And they know they sell 75% of the listings they take. So I take 250 divided by 75%. It's going to tell me how many appointments they have to go on. How many is that? 333. That's less than one a day. Let's do the buyer side. So right in 50%, we know 50% of their business is on the buyer side. So 350 times 50% is going to tell you how many buyers they have to sell. How many is that? It's another 175. Now take 175 and they know their conversion percent is 6%. So 175 divided by 70% is going to tell you how many buyer agencies they have to sign. How many buyer agencies they need to sign? 250. And then again, they know their conversion rate, 70% of the time they close on something. 250 divided by the next 70% is going to tell you how many buyer appointments they need. And then we just broke it down from there. If you have month or weeks, one a day. Just one a day. It's not impossible. Man, it's a crazy question. Does the real estate team you built know at least one listing appointment and one buyer appointment a day? Logan?
Yes, sir.
Huh. Interesting. You think about it like that. They just have a bigger model that they're working on, and you have a bigger model. Of course you can. Guys, if you change this up, and Manuel's talking about do the half minute. So on that next page, we won't fill this one out. I'll just go with you, but if you want to net $500,000, do the same thing. You divide by 40%, and you come up with 1,250, and all that top part stays the same. Any of the other numbers can change after you go down through here. So what if your commission rate was lower? Okay, you still just divide by the average commission amount. That's still 182. They only do 40% on the seller side. Doesn't matter. There's how it is. Even if you can change through that. Their conversion rate's 80% down there. Okay. It doesn't matter. We're gonna do your percentages. At the end of the day, whether you're a millionaire real estate agent, $500,000 real estate agent, or you want to make $100,000, or you want to make $40,000, it doesn't matter. We're gonna make this about you now. This is gonna be all about doing yours. Good. All right. Any questions? Look, it's funny, man. Everybody gets just funky when you start talking about math. You know? Go to page 3.13. Now, to do this, you have to have a loud voice, but I want to make sure that we get this. On page 3.13, I want to avoid the economic model traps. Would somebody with a loud voice read number 1 for me?
Not understanding the power of the economic model and using it in 2 ways to check where you are in planning.
The economic model is first for a reason. This is what we're going to, every other model is actually built off this model. This is the planning tool. Number 2.
Not using the economic model to guide decision making.
If you want to net 40% or more, you're going to use this to make your decisions. Number 3. So my experience tells me that there are things that realtors as a whole are not good at. For example, realtors as a whole are not good at math. Y'all can do 3% of anything, but besides that, you struggle. Realtors as a whole are not good business people. And here's why. Most of us who get into real estate have never run a business. Most of us who get into real estate don't have an MBA. You need to use this as your business making tool. Number 4.
Not knowing or improving your conversion rates.
Most people in this room do not know their conversion rates. Most people in this room are going to guess. I hope after today, you realize the power of knowing your conversion rates when it comes to running this model, and next year you'll know. Number 5. Here's what's not going to happen. I'm not going to walk around and go, hey, this number should be this, and this number should be this. And I'm not telling you, these are your numbers. These are your goals. If I looked at your big why, I might go, well, that's just crazy. Mine, you go, well, that's stupid. That's because it's mine. That's because it's yours. And this is all about you from when we start doing this is your economic model, and it's your goals, and it's your life by design that you want to lead. Nobody's going to tell you what to put. It's all about you from here on. How about the next one? Wow. We're already talking about the post-lunch discussion. I like it. Number 7.
Not using the economic model to
There you go. All right, that's it. We're going to use this one all day long. This is what we're going to use. All right, we're going to do your economic model now. Hey, do me a favor. Stay with me. You have a much, what?
Yeah, but that noise, not that food, that side.
Okay, you go sit over there. We'll get out of here. There's no food left. Logan came out. Stay with me on the economic model. You will have even if you're good at math, we're going to talk through this. If you'll stay with me, you got a better chance of getting it the first time. Now, if you don't, are you available to help? Amanda, are you available to help? Are you guys good with the numbers? If you start to fall behind, these two are going to watch. If you'll raise your hand, they're going to come try to help you. If they can't help you, I'm going to be here at lunch, and I can do your economic model in 5 minutes. I can do your economic model in a minute, 15 seconds, because I've done a million of them, and I'll run through it. So don't get frustrated, but hang with me. Here's the other thing. We're going to go out of order, because we're actually going to get this set up, so then we're just doing straight math. The first 2 things we're going to do is the hardest thing that we're going to do on this whole economic model. I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom. And that second line from the bottom, you see where it says percentage appointment conversion rate? Does everybody see that number? On page 3.7 is that number. And here's what it is. The top two numbers on 3.7, those top two numbers you wrote in on 3.7, the top two go on that second to bottom line on your economic model. Those are your two conversion percentages. So 3.7, get the top two conversion rates, and then put them on that line second from the bottom where it says percentage appointment conversion rate. Write those in. Everybody got that? I told you we were gonna need them. All right, go up 2 lines where it says percentage sold conversion rate. Percentage sold conversion rate. Look back on 3.7 and the bottom 2 numbers go there. So you took those 4 numbers from 3.7 and then wrote them in on your conversion rates. You just had to flip them to get them in there. So everybody in here should have 4 numbers on their economic model. Unless you're a buyer's agent, you're only doing the right-hand side, I get it. Does everybody have 4 numbers? Awesome. Okay, go up 2 more lines where it says percentage, and there's a mistake on there. It's where it says percentage buyers, sellers, listings sold, cross out buyers. That should say on the left side, it should be percentage sellers, listings sold. So I'm going to line where it says percentage of sellers, listings sold, percentage of buyers, listings sold. Let's talk about this. So you're getting ready to write in what percentage of your business will be listings and what percentage will be buyers. Who knows what their percentage is listing to buyers, and they'll share with us? What's your sir? 40, so you're 40% sellers, 60% buyers. Awesome. Who else knows their number? Yes, ma'am. 50-50, that balanced business. Good, I like it. Who else knows their numbers? Yes, ma'am. 60, so you're 60 listings, 40 buyers. Awesome. Where's my brand new agents in the room? Why didn't you raise your hand when I said what percentage? Yours is like 0 and 0. Why didn't you raise your hand? The one time today you could have been right. What's your name? Oh, that's all, Dave. I'm gonna come back here in just a second. I would love that. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you something. What's your name over there? It said 60-40. Crystal. So here's what I know. Crystal says she's 60% listings. I'm gonna tell you guys something. The only way to build a big, bad, nasty, gnarly, hairy real estate business is through the listing side. Because through the listing side, you get control of your time. You on the front end of the market when it comes to pricing. Okay? As an office, we would love to be 60% listings, 40% buyers. Time out. Here's what I know. I know that we're a training and education company. I know that we get a lot of agents coming in, and most likely, we're close to your business, which is 40% listings, 60% buyers. It happens. You know, the millionaire real estate agent, they're 50-50. They built a business so big that they know for every listing they take, they should get a buyer. And that's how big they built it. They're that 50-50 deep. So I just said that the only way to build a big, nasty, gnarly, hairy real estate business is through the listing side. All the new agents in the room like me, you're going to have no business. You're going to do about 20 to 25% of your business at the beginning of your career is on the listing side. You're like, well, why? Well, here's why. Because as a new agent, you are more often than not going to get the low-hanging fruit. And the low-hanging fruit is going to be buyers, because all the experienced agents are lead generating for listings. So typically on your career, you're going to give it out to a new agent right now. I'd write down about 25% on the listing side and about 75% on the buyer side. It's just the way it works. No, I didn't. I didn't turn it off. No. There we go. Well, you said it didn't go to sleep. You said the same thing about Logan. Wait till 2 o'clock today after that lunch. Get her snoozing. So you have to write in your 2 percentages now. If you, oh, wait a minute, time out. Tell me your name. Justin. So Justin said, hey, Ken, mine's 40-60, but I want to go 50-50. If I get a little stretched in 1 year, you could maybe do that. Probably 45-55 is more attainable for you, just so you know. Now, what if Justin said, hey, Ken, I'm 20-80, and he's going to go to 50-50? Well, good luck with that, my friend, because you have to change everything you're doing and you leave business on the table. Can yours change next year? Yes. But it's not, typically doesn't change a lot year over year. You make small adjustments to change it, so you can't change it. I need everybody to write in what percentage of your business is sellers, what percentage is buyers. They have to equal 100. I always say that. Hey, so does everybody have 6 numbers at the bottom? Okay, let's go up to where it says average commission amount. Who knows what their average total commission amount was this year? Yes, ma'am. All right, this table right here, yellow. How much? 8,700. Raise your hand. Okay, time out. Okay, all right. Listen to me. This is important. This was perfect. So she said mine's 8,700, and I knew she knew hers, and she said 5,200. Exactly. Here's the thing. Here's what I like about your business. You know the freaking number. You know the number. That's what you're working off of. I'll give you a thought. At the end of the day, if you all make the same amount of money, do you have to sell more houses? Say yes.
Yes.
Of course you do. It's 87 to 52. Come on, math class. Take up. 87 to 52. Yes, you have to sell more houses. Are there more houses available that you can make 5,200 off of than 8,700? Yes, there are. Yes, there are. There's nothing wrong knowing your average. So, man, do you know the average commission amount in your office? It's not what we're talking about.
This is 71.
Is that 7150? Well, what's your average sales price?
377 in the market center right now.
What's yours?
256.
Okay, let's do Wilmington first. Somebody grab it. No, just somebody grab a calculator. You got it. 370 times 2.75. What'd you get? So if you're in Wilmington, don't write anything down. If you're in Wilmington, the average commission right now in Wilmington is about $10,000 because the prices are going up. Let's do yours. Put yours in. What's your average? 256 times 2.75. Ooh, I got that. Woke me up. So if you're in Myrtle Beach, the average office is 7,000. Don't write those down. If you know yours, use yours. You don't do agents. Here's my thoughts. If I was a new agent in Wilmington, I would not write down 10,000. I would probably write down about 8,000. What was yours? 7,000. If I was 7,000, I might write down 5,500 in Myrtle Beach. Here's why. As a new agent, you're going to get the low-hanging fruit. Here's why. All the experienced agents are lead generating for the 300, 400, 500, and they're forgetting about the ones below that. You're more likely to get those. Now, write in your average commission. Remember, don't take anything out of it. Leave your buyer's agent. Write it in. Anybody read Outfront magazine last week?
Yeah.
I was in there. They interviewed me for that, and I told them. I told everybody in that article, if you'll show up, if you could show up at business, if you could show up at business planning today, and know the 7 numbers. You got 7 numbers on that page. If you show up at business planning, know those 7 numbers. You're golden. That's the only numbers. Next year, when you show up with the 7 numbers, and you're golden. You can do your whole business plan today because off of 7 numbers. All right. We are perfect timing. We're gonna do our economic model, do ahas, and we're gonna eat. So this is going. It's just like I've done this before. It's amazing. Let's do math. On the top where it says net income. Right, how much money you want to take home in your pocket next year before taxes. Write your net income goal at the top. Write that number down. Put that number in your calculator. I want you to take that number and divide by 40%. Take the net income you want and divide by 40%. You should come up with a much bigger number. Write that number in where it says total GCI, total gross commission income. Just write that number in right there. By the way, that net income number that you wrote down, we are never going to talk about that number again. That number's gone. You know why? You just made, that's 2022. That's what you're gonna make. Put that one away. We don't work off that number. That number's in the bank. From here on out, we're working off that GCI number that you just wrote. That bigger number is where we're getting, so that money goes to the bank. So take your total GCI number and multiply by 30%. Your total GCI times 30%. And whatever number that is, write that number in where it says operating expenses and write that same number in cost of sale. If you're a buyer's agent, those two numbers together will be your total, look a little different. I get it. Everybody got the top part? Put your total GCI back in your calculator. Total GCI back in your calculator and divide by your average sales price.
What if we get a decimal?
Well, you know, if I got a decimal and I want to have a big life, I would probably round up. I'm just thinking, guys. Now I don't really sell houses anymore because the team does that. But I've sold a lot of houses, and I have never sold a partial house. They were all wholes, every one of them. Does everybody know how many houses they have to sell next year? Don't freak out. Let's break it down. All right, take your total units sold for next year, and I want you to multiply times your, we're going to do just the left side.
Can you just, 1 second?
Yes, ma'am.
That number, where was our number for our average service?
So average sales
Average
price,
commission.
right there.
That's commission.
Average commission.
Oh,
Did I say sales price?
I don't know.
Okay, hey, y'all listen to me. My allergies are acting up, and I'm taking like, you know, all kinds of Zyrtex and stuff. When I mess something up, don't let us get by. Yeah, get by that number. Okay. Y'all weren't thinking about lunch, y'all would have caught that. Does everybody have their total units sold now? We're gonna do just the left side. Take your total units sold and multiply by the percentage where it says percentage seller listings sold. Total units times that percentage and write that number in. That says total seller listings sold. That's how many listings you have to close on next year is that number. Total seller listings sold. Don't freak out. Stop. Tracy, stop freaking out. Now take total seller listings sold and divide by that first percentage, that first conversion rate. Total seller listings sold divided by that first conversion rate, and that's going to tell you total seller listings needed. That's how many listings you have to take next year. Total seller listings needed. Now take that number and divide by that second conversion percentage. And that's going to tell you how many seller appointments you have to go on. How many listing appointments you have to go on next year? Just write that number down. And now you should have that left side done. We good? All right, go back up. Go back up and put in your total units sold again. Do your total units sold again. Put that back in your calculator. Now multiply your total units sold times your percentage of buyers. What percentage of your business will be buyers? And that'll be your total buyers you have to sell next year. Total buyers sold. Write that number in. Now divide by that first conversion rate. You wrote in that conversion rate, divide by that conversion rate, and that's going to tell you how many buyer agencies you have to sign or how many crazy people you got to put in your car. And then divide by that next conversion rate. And that's going to give you the last one, total buyer appointments needed. That's how many buyer appointments you need to go on next year. All right, do we have both those sides done? Okay, go back and look at how many listing appointments you have to go on next year. Everybody look at that listing appointment number. You got it? Take that number and divide by 12. Take your total, that number says total seller appointments needed, and divide by 12. And then write that number in the box down below. Your total seller listing appointments needed and divide by 12. Here's what I know about this group right here that I'm looking at. At least 80% of the people in this room have a number right now that is 4 or less. Your total seller listings needed, divide by 12. No, divide by 12. And 80% of this room at least has a number that's 4 or less. If you're probably 95 yet. If your number is 4 or less, that means you have to go on 1 or fewer listing appointments a week next year. Did y'all miss the think big part that I was talking about? Go to the right side, go to the buyer side. Take the total buyer appointments needed and divide by 12. Total buyer appointments needed, divide by 12. Write that number in the box. Here's what I know about this room. At least 80% of this room has a number there that is 8 or less. If your number is 8 or less on the right side, that means you have to have 2 or less buyer appointments a week next year. How many people suddenly feel like, well, I could probably do that? I know some things like, it's like he's in my head right now. I've done this one a few times. All right, now, did I describe a lot of people that have 4 or less or 8 or less? Okay, good. If you want to have that life by design, when you get home tonight, do that same exercise we just did, but divide by 10 and see what you'd have to do each month and take 2 months off and see if that doesn't change your thought just a little bit. On page 3.17, there's another blank economic. Some of you might want to go home and redo this. There's a nice blank one to do it on.
Which one?
Next page.
Next page, 3.17. All right.
Does anybody need help?
If you need help, guys, seriously, if you have problems with any of that, see me at lunch. And between bites of fried chicken, I will try to answer. Guys, remember the 411 we did?
Yes.
This is going to help you right here. It's already got the things. Do not do the weekly. Only do the annual and monthly. On the next page on your 411, I want you to write in. It's going to ask you some questions. Write in your economic model goals, just annual and monthly. Do not do the weekly. Write in your economic model goals. It just asks you a question and you get it right off your economic model. Please fill those in, page 3.19, so that we start building out that 411. We'll do the weekly after the lead gen model. Any questions on the 411? All right, as you're finished, when you finish your 411, on page 3.21, write your ahas. Please write your ahas on 3.21. I'll come get them in a minute. I'll give you a minute. Finish 411, write down your ahas from the economic model. Keep writing, keep doing your ahas as you go, but share some ahas with us. What do we get?
Make sure that my costs are so operating expenses.
Carl, you keep going about that budget. But here's the deal. So you've got the number now. You've got the GCI number. We're gonna be gold. You're gonna be gold doing it. It's gonna be the easiest math we do all day for you. Just that budget model. It's all laid out there for you. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you're gonna love it. It's all here. Yes. What'd you say? Oh yeah, he said small bite. That's that old bowl. If you've ever been to bowl, this objective life by design. If you haven't, you should go. How do you eat an elephant? Bite at a time. Yeah, we're breaking it down. So tell me your name. Man. So man, when we were going through this, I watched people, and when they're at the top part, and y'all all have the same face, and especially if this is your first time, you have the same facial expressions. When I say write down the net income you want to make in your pocket, you know, like this. You're all happy. And then you start doing the numbers, and you're like plug them in, okay. And then you see how many closings you have to have, and you go from this to. But then I say, just hang with me, and you break it down, and you get down to that bottom, and you divide by 12, and you're going, why am I not already doing that? There's people in this room right now that their aha is that when I get home, I'm going to redo this economic model with I'm going to trade those 7 numbers I want to keep getting about conversion rates, at my average sales price, I got percentage sales, percentage buyer. I'm going to keep all those numbers the same, and I'm going to up my net income goal because I can do that. Most of this room right now on 3 appointments a week, 1 listed appointment, 2 buyers appointments can make your goal next year. Most of you could. You might need to relook at it. What else? Yes, sir.
Have a model when you're missing people in the org chart.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You got you're bumping your head or you're banging your head, one or the other. So there's people missing your life. I like it. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Take significant time off the which are both
I do. I built it out, tried to follow the best I could. What else? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I'm going to hit those differently. She says, I'm going to up my conversion rates. You know what? That should be a goal for everybody. No matter what, if you could get a little bit better on all your conversion rates, that'll help your business. So we always should strive. Be careful about wishing for a higher average price point. So next month, you're all going to do $1 million in sales. Congratulations. You have 2 choices on how you're going to do this $1 million in sales. You can do 5 people at 200,000 each, or you can do 1 in a million. Which business do you want? Okay, why do you want the 5? Why do you want the 5?
I think turn into 5 more.
Could turn into 5 more. They know people.
And there are a lot more appreciative.
5 chances for future business, 5 chances for referral, right? All good reasons. I'm gonna give you 2 more reasons. Oh, wait a minute, I was wrong. you had this under contract, but one fell through. Well, next month, you're still closing 800,000 over here. Well, here, you're eating ramen noodles and definitely going to business planning class, you have one good deal this month. But tell you something else. Take it from somebody who sells a lot of luxury homes. I guarantee you, this one ego is bigger than these 5 egos combined. Just so you know. I just always say, guys, average sales price or average commission rate is not the be all end all when it comes to being a business. Sure, we all that. Hey, right now, the one good thing about prices going up, my average sales price is through the roof. And that part is nice. I get it. But I'm not gonna base everything I do just trying to sell more expensive homes. It costs a lot much more to do too. I saw a hand back here somewhere.
I'm gonna hold it.
You're
I was going to ask the group, what if I wanted to make my model around selling $50,000 property? What would your advice be? Well, it's the same idea. Charge for commission. Where's the line of the-
And you know what? Here's the deal. Well, it's gonna change. It's gonna change for everywhere. I tell you where I'd like to be. I'd like to be the guy that sold the homes where the most homes are for sale. And if there's more homes for sale at 200, I'd like to be there. I'd like to be where I have the most opportunities. Is where I would be. And that's gonna change for your market. It's gonna change by years. It's great now. But at the end of the day, if enough people think of you as the expert when it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, it really doesn't matter. You're gonna get some all of them. Yeah, lead gen, I'll do that next.
We got one on Zoom. There are a lot of assertive people in real estate because they want to control their destinies, go on hard listing appointments and be willing to take no for an answer. From Stephanie Pelton.
Thank you, Stephanie. And Stephanie, and guys, and just so you know, we're gonna talk about in the lead gen model. We'll talk a little bit about how many people lead assertive, how many people lead social versus steady and structured, and what you guys are. Because y'all ain't normal. We'll talk about it in the next one. All right, give me one more, and I'm going to introduce Amanda, because nobody knows her. One more. I'm the only person that's hungry in here, apparently.
I've heard this, I've heard Jason say it a few times in the state, but the path is in the math. And it's just, the path is in the math, knowing clarity is power, and if you just know the pathway, and follow that, right? And that should get you to your goal. Like you said, that money's in the bank already, right? The net, and now you just need to focus on your activities, and that's the path.
Okay, I want to point something out right now. I was here on Sunday. Well, I turned around. I drove 4 hours down here, had to spend the night in a hotel. I'm busting my butt up here. And Amanda gave Jason Abrams an aha. Did you see that? I just don't see the fair. I'm calling Jason. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a team meeting now for just a minute. I'm gonna turn it over to Amanda. Deal with this.
All right, so today typically in Wilmington is our sales meeting, right? So it's the second Tuesday of the month, and we always award the agents for their activities, which is what we're focused on. So this is September. I want to share a couple things. We talked about rankings. Our regional rankings just released for September, and in our region, we have about 1,990 individual agents, give or take. So that's an approximate number. This month, this is GCI, we had 3 from our 2 offices. Number 4 was Baxter Chief. Number 7 was Jake Lee in Myrtle Beach. And number 8 was Mike Herring right here at Ocean Isle for GCI close in our region. For teams, we had number 2 team, and there are 375 teams in this ranking. That's a 2-person team. Number 2 is Domenico Brillo in our region. And number 5 is Troy Cab out of Myrtle Beach. So congratulations to both of them. Groups, there are 325 groups in this region. And out of Myrtle Beach, the number 5 group was the Tremblay group and closed GCI last year out of the Kentucky region. So first of all, congratulations to those agents. Now I'm gonna do monthly real quick. We talked about expansion. In Wilmington, we have a handful of expansion teams. So the Herd Group, they were number 5. The McGovern Group, number 4. Carolina Expansion Partners, number 3. And International Coastal Properties, which is Fargo Weatherford, number 1, out of our office and expansion. So congratulations to them. Lori Shipston for individual agents, number 10. Caleb Courtney, number 9 in September. Come on, Caleb. Number 8, Brandon Freesia. Number 7, Jeremiah Barnett. Number 6, Billy Craig. Number 5, Megan Vogel. Number 4, Lisa Adams. You guys can take these home if they're in the market center. Number 3 in closed sales, this is a little fascinating, was Baxter, right? So number 3 in closed sales, but number 2 in our region for GCI. And then number 2, Scott Proctor for individual closed units. And number 1 out of Jacksonville is Tiffany Kirkpatrick for the number 1 individual agent closed units. So congratulations. Team, 6th place, Reach Properties. 5th place, the Next Page team. 4th place, By Coastal Real Estate. Congratulations, Crystal. And number 3, Jody. O'Brien, Soho, IBC. This is the 10th month running, Domenico Grillo with closed units and teams. So congratulations to Dom. Group B means that is 5 members or less on the team. That's what Group B means. Group A means 5 or more. So this is Group B. Number 5, Angie Wilkie team. All right. Let's see, group. Number 3, Amy and Co. Number 2, Hank Charchianic and Associates. And number 1, also in Jacksonville, the Christie Hill team. So congratulations. That's okay. I think I did. All right, Group A, they have number 10, the Harris Group. Number 9, Uncharted Realty. I think Christie was Group B, and I'm getting there now. All right, and then number 9, Uncharted Realty Group. Number 8, the Marquee team. Number 7, Brittany Allen Group. Number 6, Unlock ILM, which is Wendy Thompson. Number 5, the Wayland team. Number 4, Ross 11 Pro. Number 3, Ben Zaffron's team. And number 2, the Cheap team. So number 1 was KBT and their respective group for closed sales in the month of September. So I'm characteristically late, but Richard Lytle was on cue.
Is he still coming?
I think so. I'll let him talk, but just in case something happens, he is our lunch sponsor, and lunch is on him today. So you want to give us instructions for lunch?
Hey, will somebody get Jason on the phone and see what we're doing for lunch? So here's what we're gonna do. I want to give you guys time, and we have night. It's guys, y'all are blessed today. I do this a lot. I eat a lot of cold pizza and soggy sandwiches for lunch. This is cool. So be sure and thank your leadership and your sponsor for putting this together. I want you guys to enjoy this. It's beautiful outside. We're not going to start back until 12:50. But at 12:50, we're not lead gen model. Guys, we're dead on today. I promise I will have you out of here by 4 o'clock. I'm not going to keep you past that. We're doing great on schedule. But 12:50, come back and we'll start that lead gen model because we got a lead gen into what you just wrote down. See you then. Enjoy your lunch.
What's up, man? How you doing? Hey, Ty. How's your mom doing?
So they have feels or sounds like she's trying to talk a bit.